Hi there, I'm Dr. LaQuita J, and welcome to my YouTube channel where I talk about all things in between being and becoming a pharmacist. How you doing? You alright? Today's Success Sunday will be something that's dear and near to my heart. It is my story of my Naplex story. Let's say that. As you know, I am a Naplex success coach. I help pharmacists shift their mindset, scratch out their plan, and study effective for the Naplex exam. And I thought it was so befitting for you for to share my journey with you, like my Naplex story, because I took the Naplex not one, not two, but three times. And I thought it was so befitting for me to share that with you guys. And this will be, I'm thinking this might be a series. So just bear with me. I don't know how long at the time recording we will see and talk, but I want to make sure we go through the proper steps of developing the mindset to overcome, to get in the develop the mindset to overcome so that you can take the action that's needed to conquer the exam. As I like to call it, conquer Goliath. All right. So, as I began reflecting on my Netflix journey, I found that it's very essential to know the difference between my perceptions before studying the Naplex exam, before starting the study process, and the realities I face along the way. Like many of you guys, I had high hopes and certain expectations about how I would approach my studying, managing my time, and ultimately succeeding, right? However, my journey was full of surprises that challenged my mindset, exposed my frustrations and fears, and really forced me to adapt new tactics. One of those is a positive mindset. Initially, I approached my Netflix prep with a positive mindset. You know, freshly graduated, like, hey, first doctor of my family, moved to a new state, and it's like, okay, it's just something new. It's gonna be great, right? I was determined and confident and motivated to conquer the exam. I had a clear vision of myself passing the exam with flying colors and felt that my years of pharmacy school, I went to pharmacy school, my program was 4 years, so my years of pharmacy school had adequately prepared me for this challenge. I believe that with a well-structured study plan and disciplined execution, as always, like, right, success will be inevitable. This mindset was a powerful driving force that kept me motivated during the early stages of my preparation because I've seen the work. I just saw what I was able to accomplish the last 4 years. And for me, undergrad, like, I was not serious in undergrad, if I'm honest. I was not serious. I made all the mistakes, a lot of mistakes, retook a lot of classes. And I told myself when I get to pharmacy school, this would never happen. Um, I like, I told myself it never happened. Like, I even graduated undergrad with like a 2.8 because I was playing around. But I ended up graduating from pharmacy school with 3.5 because I was just so serious. Like, it's not much of a big jump, but it's a lot for me coming from a 2.8 to a 3.5. So I was like, I'm ready. I made a point and proving to myself that I can do this. Like, it's just this one test that's one thing I got to conquer, and that's it. So that was my mindset. Like, it was just that the mindset was a driving force that kept me motivated. Like, it's really kept me motivated during those early stages. However, maintaining the positive mindset was really the hard thing, to maintain it. To maintain through the entire process was more a challenge than I had really anticipated. There were moments of self-doubt, and I questioned my ability to succeed. It was during these times I had to consciously remind myself of my capabilities and the hard work I had put in. And this is what I always talk about in the unbeatable mind. It was designed for pharmacists who failed the Naplex exam and really truly overcome. If you watched my live last week, I'll link it below if you watch my live. And it was one of those things of that cue habit. It was the cue of when that negative thought came, I had to remind myself of who I was. And that was my perception. I perceived that I was going to have all these things, like the same mindset I had where I conquered. I went into pharmacy school and didn't fail any classes. My GPA was high. I was involved with so many things. It was like night and day for my undergrad. I just knew that it was gonna be the same way. But the reality was, I never thought about the bad mindsets. Like, I never really thought about how the mental turmoil that I was going to go through. I never thought about that. And it was so hard for me to really grasp, yet alone outside factors. Moving to a new state, which is great, exciting. However, I went from an area where I saw predominantly blacks to predominant whites, to where, if I'm honest, I'm like, oh, that's a black person, because I just wasn't used to seeing it. Then I'm from the South. I went up north. It's cold as all get out, and I just didn't feel welcome. So I didn't think about that perception either. I felt like, I guess I'm just a blind optimist who just thought everybody would perceive me well. And I wouldn't have all these things, and just to see like the thick of prejudice and racism that I didn't think I was going to be able to just, I didn't think I was going to encounter that. And yet alone, that also affect my studying, because of those outside factors, like going out into such negative and toxic behaviors. And when you're at home, you just feel safe and you just want to decompress, and then you realize, oh, I got to study, because home felt like the only safe haven I had. That was also another one. Despite me being positive with my mindset, I encountered frustrations and fears that also disrupted my study plan. One of the biggest frustrations was the sheer volume of material that I needed to cover. The Naplex is so comprehensive, and I found it overwhelming. I found it to be very overwhelming, and to balance the studying different therapeutic areas, the calculations, pharmacy, law, my perception that I perceived that my perception would be, I'll say my preparation would be methodical, working through material at a steady pace. But the reality of it was, the topics were too much to grasp than I had than I had anticipated. I had planned to dedicate specific hours each day to studying, but unexpected life events happened, work commitments happened, fatigue interfered again, like being in this new place just wasn't good for me, trying to show that, hey, I'm committed, I'm a good worker, I'm going to work for you guys, and it's going to be okay, and not really studying because I'm trying to show I'm a good worker bee, and not realizing my focus should have been on preparing for the exam. My perception that I could just, get through it, the time and time management became another source of frustration. I had planned to dedicate these specific hours to do studying, but it just wasn't it. Things just always came up. Like, some days I just needed a mental health day because it was just too much turmoil what I was going through. And then I had the fear of failing behind my schedule. Because, of course, being a perfectionist, you gotta stick to the schedule. You gotta make it happen. And when you don't stick to the schedule, it creates more chaos and more things. It's like, more anxiety, and the fear just kept building up, and I just felt not adequate. Just started like, hey, the fear of the anxiety. I'm gonna fail if I don't prepare. And there were days where I was truly paralyzed by the anxiety. I questioned what I could retain all the information. If I'm about to fail the exam, will I perform well? Am I disappointment? It was just too much. Too much. And if I'm saying something that's resonating with you, let me know. Let me know. But that was the perceptions, my reality. Another thing was my unrealistic study tactics. In my initial perception, I had grand ideas about the tactics I would use to study. I'd envision myself creating detailed flashcards for every topic, participating in study groups, consistently taking practice exams. I believe that these methods would provide a well-rounded understanding and help keep me engaged. However, the reality was not all these tactics were feasible. Creating flashcards for every single topic was too time consuming. I couldn't commit to that. Then I found it difficult to maintain the discipline required for regular study group meetings. First, it's hard to find people to study with because now you're graduated. Everybody's not close knit anymore. I moved away, and at the time, I didn't know about Zoom. I think Zoom was probably just starting. I don't think it was created yet. I didn't think about that. Like, it was more of creating conference calls, like, oh, it's conference calls online or something, or maybe Google Meet had just came out or something. It was just something simple like that. Having the discipline to meet with the study groups. I didn't have that. I didn't have the people, yet alone the time and the schedule, because again, I'm working, trying to show that I'm a good worker bee. I can help you. Pick me. And that was not it. And additionally, for me, I focused heavily on practicing exams. When I started reading the information, it got so overwhelmed. And I was like, well, let me just pause and let me just go see what the quiz bank has so I can know what to focus on more importantly. And doing that created so many gaps of knowledge for me, which added to my anxiety. So instead, the reality of it was I had to adapt and find more realistic strategies for studying, focusing on those high yield concepts, creating a concise study guide for me, utilizing the resources I had to help me become more effective, and also prioritizing quality over quantity. For me, it wasn't about, oh, let me take every single quiz. It was about me. Do I understand the knowledge? Do I know the knowledge to apply to the question? Because it took me my third time to realize that this quiz bank, it's sad to say, but this quiz bank, it's not going to be the exact same questions on this exam. So I need to have the knowledge base to say whatever they come at me, whatever comes my way, I can pass this exam. I had to learn that. I had to truly ensure that I had to identify what worked best for me. Because the reality of it was I couldn't do all the things people were recommending, like take this quiz test 3 times until you get a 90, then that means you know information. Y'all know how I can memorize? Like, I can memorize answers to question banks, and it's passive learning, not actively learning. Like, that was something I was doing. That was truly something I was doing. And that's one of the things of, as I start telling you my story about my Naplex fail story. I don't even know what I'm gonna call this, the title of this, but I think it's my story that I have to get out. I want you to really think about how are you perceiving what you should be doing versus your reality. It's like a client I have now, right? Ideally, she works full time, and I would love for her to commit to 20, 30 hours of studying. But the reality of it is, that's not possible for her to get adequate sleep, to be a mom, to work 40 hours a week. It's just not reality for her. We're working with less than 20 hours. So it's the thing of, I had to help her create a study plan that truly works for her. And we're still going to adjust. It's like I have to create, I call it the study system. Not necessarily a study plan, the study system that I had to help her with. And as I reflect on her, how I'm helping her in my journey, I really want to encourage you to undertake a similar process of self-reflection. Understanding that gap between reality, with perception versus reality, and truly manage those expectations. So I want to give you some actionable steps. One is your mind. Assess your mindset. As I stated, I thought I was going to come up with a positive mind, just do all the things. Reflect on what was your initial mindset and how it evolved, how it has evolved throughout your preparation. Identify those moments of self-doubts and provide strategies to help you stay positive. I promise you, if you're having a hard time developing a mindset, Unbeatable Mind, I'm going to link it below, but Unbeatable Mind is what you need. It is truly what you need. It is the exact routine that I did when I had a doubt in my mind. I went to it. The second thing is, because that's when the Unbeatable Mind, we're going to identify your frustrations and your fears. You have to acknowledge those. You have to acknowledge those fears and the frustrations, and then you have to challenge them. We can't just sit there and just say, hey, I'm a failure. Who said you was a failure? You gotta talk to yourself. Like, you have to develop positive coping mechanisms to help you overcome that hopeless rut and to prevent you from derailing from your progress. Third thing is to evaluate your study tactics. Compare the study tactics you intended to use compare those tactics that you intended to use with those that were actually effective. Think about what worked for you during pharmacy school. What was a test that you knew you passed? You gave your all, you passed that test. What did you do? What was that? Once you start identifying those things, it's going to help you achieve your perception reality. And as always, too, seek help. Like, don't hesitate to reach out for support from your peers, from your mentors, from me. I have a strategy call that you can book. It's simple. Collaboration and encouragement can make a significant difference on your journey. Don't ever forget that. Because my Naplex experience, I call it my Pharmacist to RPH journey, was such a humbling experience that taught me the importance of adaptability, realistic goal setting, self-compassion. While my initial perceptions were optimistic and ambitious, and but the reality was a complex blend of challenges and growth. By reflecting on my experiences, I was able to identify and find effective strategies that work for me and ultimately help me succeed. To all of you who are studying, I truly urge you to embark on this journey with an open mind and willingness to adapt. Reflect on your perceptions versus your realities, and use these insights to redefine your approach or refine your approach. Remember, the path to success is rarely linear, but with perseverance and reflection, you can achieve your goals. Until next time, remember that pharmacy is only if you are. Now go be great, and I thank you for tuning in today. We're going to continue this process, okay? Continue to tune in.